take it out of your cut. All right. I'll talk to you later. Anyway, Charles cut the chicane there. Should probably give him a 5-second penalty.
Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 21 of the F1 Chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting to my left is a man who not a single one of his teams seem to be doing all right at the moment. And that's JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
Oh, just eternal darkness, obviously.
Sitting in the corner singing sounds of silence.
Yeah, everything sucks.
And to my right is a man who's very happy because his favourite driver in the entire world managed to do the unthinkable. And it's Longhorn. How are you?
How the hell did he get points?
I don't know.
In the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain.
It's like proper crash conditions.
Yeah.
Here he is.
He managed to stay on track and get 2 points. Like, what?
Oh, it gets worse.
Gosh.
It gets worse. I'll show you later.
Me, myself, I'm good though. I'm good.
Awesome. Well, we watched. What a day of motorsport. It was just a massive day in general.
Oh, it's brilliant. What a day.
I mean, we had 6 hours of Bathurst.
6 hours of Neil Crompton magic.
And Mark Scaife swooning.
Jamie Whincup.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves him.
Yeah, he loves him proper, doesn't he?
Just swooning
Proper.
over it.
Nose up arsehole.
Couldn't get any closer, eh?
Could not.
Oh, I will say this, though. A lot of the driving with Bathurst really came across as amateurish, though, in the first few laps.
Yeah. Well,
know-
I mean, look, we had similar conditions in Suzuka as well, so.
True. And then, I half expected thinking, Bathurst towards the end. I'll flick over and see what's going on the F1.
Yeah, what's going on in the F1? Rain.
Nothing.
Red flags.
Red flag.
Red flags.
And
Lots
then
of red
I
flags.
tuned back in after Bathurst finished, like after they presented the Peter Brock Trophy and everything. I tuned back in, and the race had just started. I'm like, I must be watching a replay. I'll see it. No, it was the genuine article.
Yeah? Was it when the timer countdown started?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 40 minutes of racing or some
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay.
What?
And I even fired up the replay, and I was just like, okay.
Wet.
Wow. All right.
Just watching Rain Simulator.
Yeah. Rain
Japanese
Simulator.
edition.
Rain Simulator 2023.
Moist. Proper moist.
All right. So, to talk about what happened during the race, we hand it over to the F1 report, hand it over to JB. JB, take it away.
Yep. The race report for the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix.
It was wet.
It's wet.
It rained
All right,
sideways.
cool.
It rained sideways. Back to the studio.
It's like that Family Guy
Yeah,
skit.
it's the weather guy. The
Weather guy.
weatherman.
Wait, what's the weather like out there? It's hot. Thank you for that.
No, but there was actually racing eventually, sort of, kind of.
Sorry. I'm just going to mention what I've laughed at. The episode of Family Guy where Trisha Takanawa, she's like, I'm standing outside the San Francisco Hilton because they don't allow Asians inside.
Hello, Peter. I'm standing on your porch wanting to harpoon that dolphin. Japan, they kill things we like. And now that that's over, lap
Get to the
one.
Japanese Grand Prix.
Lap one. Now that we've culturally appropriated an entire country, Max
Hi,
Verstappen.
Shogo.
Hi, Shogo. How you going? Max Verstappen starts on pole from Charles Leclerc at a rain-soaked Suzuka circuit, and that is probably underselling it. Max Verstappen holds off Leclerc around the outside of turn one, which is a pretty awesome move. Fernando Alonso has a good battle with Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel spins at turn one after contact with Alonso. Carlos Sainz has a massive shunt in his Ferrari, aquaplaning backwards into the wall. Zhou Guanyu has a spin. Alex Albon's Williams has a gearbox failure. The FIA rules the track is too wet and stops the race to avoid further carnage. During the red flag delay, it is revealed a recovery tractor was on track while the cars were racing around to catch the safety car. Pierre Gasly, lucky not to hit the tractor, in a scary moment that brings back memories of Jules Bianchi's fatal crash at the same circuit in the same conditions. We'll get to that later. The race enters a time-certain finish as the safety car runs laps into a rolling restart with everybody on full extreme wet tyres. Vettel and Latifi pit for intermediate tyres off the restart. Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas follow suit the next lap. Max Verstappen boxes for Inters, followed by Charles Leclerc. A stream of cars coming in. Red Bull and Mercedes double stacking. Max Verstappen overtakes Mick Schumacher for third. Magnussen and Lance Stroll, almost collide in the pit lane. Mick Schumacher gets swallowed up by the field as the only runner left on full wets, losing 4 spots in 2 corners until he finally yields for intermediate tyres. George Russell charges up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda and Lando Norris within the space of a lap. Fernando Alonso gambles on a late stop for another set of intermediate tyres. And then eventually, Max Verstappen wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc cuts the final chicane to hold off Sergio Perez. Zhou Guanyu gets the fastest lap. Sebastian Vettel gets driver of the day. And then post-race, Charles Leclerc is given a 5-second time penalty for cutting the track, and Max Verstappen is, in the most bleak and unenthusiastic way possible, i.e. Johnny Herbert tells him, is crowned 2022 Formula One World Champion.
So Max Verstappen comes first in the race. Sergio Perez finishes second. Charles Leclerc finishes third. Esteban Ocon finishes fourth for Alpine. Lewis Hamilton finishes fifth. Sebastian Vettel finishes sixth. Fernando Alonso finishes seventh. Jorge Russell, Jorge Russell finishes eighth. The GOAT, Nicholas Latifi, ninth. And Lando Norris finishes 10th. How long has it been since we've seen a Williams beat a McLaren?
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah,
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
It's probably happened more frequently than we'd like to admit.
But I mean, in recent history, aka the last 10 years,
Yeah, absolutely.
it hasn't happened often.
I mean,
You sort of bottle these
doesn't
moments.
even happen
don't you?
often if the Williams are being the points.
We've seen the Williams if Norris crashes and Ricciardo just Ricciardo's.
Yeah.
The Williams is usually, if Ricciardo's qualifying 15th like usual,
Yeah.
the Williams is usually finishes ahead of Ricciardo.
I did see...
But not for points, though. This is the first time I've seen it for points in a while.
Well, I did see they did an interview with Zach Brown after Bathurst. I think Jess
Yates. Yeah.
And she was grilling Zach Brown over Daniel Ricciardo.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like she,
To
unlike the British press,
to
she
an-
wasn't holding back.
To an Australian TV audience about an Australian driver, yeah, you'd expect that.
But you know, he was fully complimentary. Like, you know, it just didn't work. Like we couldn't give him the car he needed.
He couldn't
and
adapt. That's all.
Yeah, it just didn't work
We're paying
completely.
him too much money for the results we're getting,
Yeah.
which is the
So,
truth.
so we're going to pay him all that money to not race for us.
So I don't have any photos of it, but that tractor on the track, like what the
That's shocking.
That's terrible. At the same circuit.
Yeah.
and
That's the
apparently
worst part.
they gave Gasly a 20-second penalty for speeding
Under red flags.
under red flag.
Yeah, apparently he was going pretty quick.
But like, surely to God they would have waited until the damn cars were out of the way before they launched the truck.
I don't know who green lighted that tractor. It wasn't the FIA by the sounds of it.
And it was the same thing at Bathurst. They had the recovery truck, and it blocked.
Yeah, blocked one of the guys coming out of the pit lane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was just the day for stupid recovery trucks.
It was just a day for weird things happening in the
Yeah,
way. Yeah, nah, Gasly's lucky he didn't go into the back of that tractor.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't
Very
far.
lucky.
And then the onboard of Carlos Sainz's Ferrari, as it's being lifted, there's actually a marshal
Yeah.
on the front of it pushing his car, and Gasly misses the marshal by probably even less.
Yeah.
Like, and Gasly's hauling ass. He's probably doing 150, 200 k's an hour.
Yep.
Like, he just misses this marshal.
Yeah.
And, like, and the visibility's so bad, like, the tractor doesn't even have, like, flashing lights on or anything. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like this big black, like, thing coming out of the gloom, and by the time you realise what it is, you're already past it.
Well, here's a question I want to ask you guys. Now, last episode we were going over the 2023 calendar. Do you think Japan should be moved somewhere else on the calendar?
Yeah.
Because
should have it with Australia.
These tsunami-like conditions, like, you need to pick a time where it's not.
Well, apparently it was like fully raining in Thailand as well, so it's this
Yeah.
time
Oh, yeah,
where
it
it's
was
happening. You know what I mean? Like,
It was torrentially raining in Thailand for the MotoGP last week as well.
yeah, that's
Like,
what I mean.
it was torrentially raining at Bathurst. It was torrentially raining everywhere.
Yeah,
Everything's moist. Everything's rather moist.
No, but
I think Japan should be near Australia.
But the problem is it Japanese? Is it coming into winter for Japan now? They're Northern Hemisphere.
yeah.
So if you did it at the start of the year where it's like our summer, but then it's their winter, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Maybe-
you mean
I
it's
don't
coming
know,
into their
like,
summer?
I assume it snows in a lot of Japan.
Yeah, maybe it's too cold at that
Ma-
time.
I mean-
There has to be a reason for
There's
it.
got to be a reason it is where it is.
Maybe they should put it near Canada.
Yeah,
But
but it rains
that
in
would-
Canada a lot too.
Yeah, but near Canada, you might as well put it near Australia. That time of year is probably the same issue
Yeah.
that it's not there for.
It's
you know?
just like every time they run the Japanese F1. I mean, 2014 was Jules
Sure.
Bianchi.
Yep,
You know, and then we almost had it again this year.
yep.
Sure, we've missed the last 3 years because of COVID, or last 2 years, or whatever. But every year it rains,
Yeah, almost, practically.
and it just feels like it needs to be further up the calendar to avoid the rain.
Yeah, but if you put it further back, like, I don't know, is it ice capped? Like, you'll forget that it snows at Spa until you see photos of Eau Rouge, like, blanketed in a blizzard of snow. You forget it snows there.
yeah.
In the same way you probably forget it snows at Suzuka.
Or maybe if they put it after Hungary, and
Especially
make it the last race before the mid-season gap.
there must, but yeah, but then it doesn't go along with unless
Yeah.
you move Singapore with it because you want to be bunching locations. We don't want to be. We were already saying last week how it's ridiculous how we go.
Well,
you know,
I mean,
jump here.
JB, you've been to the Singapore Grand Prix twice,
Yes.
and it hasn't rained, but has it been stiflingly hot?
It's stiflingly hot, and I shit you not, the minute we left the podium, when Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, I think, was on the podium, we left the podium after they'd finished spraying the champagne, and we're walking back across the Infinity Bridge back to Marina Bay Sands, and it hammered down. It rained, like, torrentially as soon as the Grand Prix finished. So, you know,
It's
Singapore gets hot too.
Yeah, it's
and
tropical.
wet too.
It's like us here, and that's why we forget about when we say, "Oh, just move it to a warmer time." We forget other places snow or they get
Yeah.
too cold.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't
cold
run.
when-
You know,
it's
like
cold when it's warm here.
all the problems we have here is too hot or too much rain. Like that's
Yeah.
our
Well,
two problems. You know,
Maybe they need to put it around the same time as China, which
Yeah, but that's
isn't
the same
far
time
away
as-
from it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Australia,
it rains
yeah.
at China. It's just and geographically, it's an island.
yeah,
Like it's a lot like England. England rains a lot because it's just an island in the middle of the fucking ocean. Like
yeah.
Japan's got the same problem. It's geographically it draws a lot of cloud and a lot of rain. So it is what it is. It's like, you know, it rains in Montreal every second year.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So, you know, it
Um,
just
ma-
is what it is. But there's got to be a better way of
Marshalling it.
keeping these guys safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
You
ridiculous.
Cannot. How the hell did that happen once? How the hell did that happen twice?
Well, how about this for an idea? Maybe they need to install floodlights on the track, kind of like what they do with Singapore being a night race. Put in the night lights at
Yeah.
the track.
Yeah, maybe you just need to turn the big floodlights on when it rains or something. I don't
Because
know.
that's the main reason why they don't use the wets is because of the ground effect. and combine it with the wet tyres, there's so much spray coming off the cars onto the next car behind them that the car behind just simply cannot see.
Well, you're looking even in this race, that was the problem, visibility.
Yeah.
It's outstanding how those drivers, going into that first turn off the straight, how we didn't have any incidents. Just all those guys would have just been focusing on the flat. All they could see surely was the flashing lights of the car ahead of them, and they somehow all managed to go in without.
Well, that was something that was brought up about, I think it was Spa last year, how it was cancelled. The reason why the drivers were saying the visibility was so awful was because on their TV, their steering wheel, they've got the screens and all little lights. And because they're all designed for daytime driving, so that they've got to be bright so that you can see it, as well as you've got the bright lights of the car in front of you. When you've got so much brightness hitting you in the face onto the visor of your helmet,
Yeah, it just blurs.
it just
everything.
blurs everything else. And then you've got spray from the track and the tyres and the car in front hitting you as well. It's just a cornucopia of blindness.
It was incredible how much spray was coming off those inters when they
Yeah.
on that initial start.
And like they interviewed
I don't know how anyone in the middle. And you saw the onboard of Sebastian Vettel when he hit Alonso off the start. He couldn't see a fucking
Yeah.
thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's a test of how good all these drivers are. We didn't have any big incidents off that start.
Yeah.
Like we did.
I can't believe that was the only big incident we had.
It wasn't
with
even a big incident. Oh, Carlos Sainz, that was it. But
yeah,
yeah, we didn't have any. Like I was saying, off that start, I don't know how we didn't get a car pile up because,
Yeah.
like you said, you couldn't see anything when you watched the onboards.
it's probably a little bit better if you're under the spray, like because the cameras are looking down.
Yeah,
like,
they would
over the
have better
spray.
than us,
But when you're sitting 3 millimeters off the ground, the spray's like directed to go over your head.
Yeah.
Purely by the aerodynamics. Maybe it's slightly better down there, but it wouldn't have been much.
no, it would have been better. But yeah,
it wouldn't
not
have been
much.
much.
Do you think they could potentially design for wet races maybe a package that you can clip on the back to stop the spray?
I was just thinking for wet races they should clip on the like a portable version of what IndyCar runs instead of the Halo.
Like
they've got that
the
per-
visor.
Yeah, they've got that perspex screen that goes around the front of the cockpit
I don't know if it'll do anything.
and put little windscreen wipers on it.
But just put a big windscreen wiper on it. Put a big windscreen wiper on your visor.
Imagine that while they're driving on. Like,
Does that drain the ERS battery though, using the motor?
probably.
So like, oh, you got to go for a push lap, so you have to turn the windscreen wiper
Wipers
off, mate. Yeah, windscreen wipers off and charge the battery.
I don't know if there's maybe like they could design some kind of mudguard system or something just to. I don't know.
Well, they interviewed between the red flag coming and going. They interviewed the guy from Pirelli, and he said, "Look, there's not much we can do about the tires, like the wet tires, because it's more because of the ground effect."
Yeah, it's the downforce. Yeah, that's what.
He
yeah.
said we'd have to redesign the entire tire from the ground up.
That's why I'm suggesting
to a
maybe
child-
like a clip-on package that everyone has to, put
Well-
on instead
well, I
because
was-
it's not the tyre's fault. Like,
I was sitting there thinking to myself, well, mate, you've got a few months until the start of next season. Get your feet a stepping, son.
Yeah, I don't know. But that does explain why even in torrential rain you don't see the full wets.
Yeah, because it's
And
more
as soon
the
as they
ground
put
effect.
they put the full wets on, and then they did a lap, and then everyone was in for inters.
Yeah.
So it was like
I don't know what the
completely
point of the wets are these days.
Yeah,
Like,
they're going to have to redesign that tyre to make it work, obviously.
that's why I'm saying maybe the wets are fine, but they need some kind of package for races like this. To every car has to clip on a standard package. Everyone has to clip on that
Isn't it
diverts the spray to some level.
Just
I
put
don't,
some, put
Isn't
some
it
rails on, like
I don't-
from.
we're talking the greatest engineers on the planet when it comes to designing cars. I'm a dum-dum, but surely they can come up with something. You know what I mean?
They need to watch the Living Daylights, where Bond's Aston Martin has like catamaran rails that come out, so you
Yes.
can drive on that. There we go. That'll
Yeah.
fix the problem.
It was almost
Amphibious F1 cars. Now
Yes.
we're talking.
it was almost
No, that
good
was
enough.
a different movie.
They all just inflate, like poof, when they inflate and just become a raft.
They have a big fan coming out the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
like a hovercraft.
Isn't it ironic though? Everyone was like bitching that they didn't start the Singapore Grand Prix on time, and then now everyone's bitching that why did they start the Japanese Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's
Like
never,
for the same reason. It's like,
it's never enough, is it?
oh, they're the best drivers in the world. Why didn't they just start racing in Singapore? And then they're like, that was dangerous. Why did you send them out there?
They can't see
They
anything.
can't see anything. What the fuck?
Make up your goddamn mind.
I know.
And you know
I
what? They were out there on inters anyway, so they clearly the drivers are like, it's wet, but it's not like torrentially wet. We'll go. And there was
She'll
only
be right.
And there was only one real spin. I mean, there was Carlos's aquaplane, and then there was Zhou Guanyu did a pirouette. And that was like
You know
really
what it
the only-
is?
That was
the
it.
only
Our one
spin.
was a mechanical failure, so his
Yeah.
wasn't.
You know what it was, though? All the drivers were sitting there doing the greatest, channeling their inner Jeremy Clarkson and going, what could possibly go wrong?
And the only one regretting it is Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
And nearly Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, well, he ended up
Yeah.
wearing a sign.
And that Marshall.
Oh, yeah, God. But, and then I noticed, too, when Max Verstappen was... The race was over. And Red Bull is sitting there going through the directive that was sent by the FIA to figure out if Max is world champion. You know what other team was also sitting there going over the numbers and crunching all the numbers to make sure whether or not Max was world champion?
Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like, what involvement does Mercedes have?
It's
Like,
the only chance of them to be relevant is to say dumb shit in the media.
yeah, it's almost like
That's what Toto's done all year. He's just like,
it's almost like
It's not fun watching one team dominate.
how dare one team dominate?
he might not be world champion, but still in with a shot. Lewis can still win it.
And now mathematically he can't, and they're devastated.
Yeah.
So now they're just trying to find every thing they could sit there and poke their finger at and go, yeah, Red Bull did this, and Red Bull did that.
They've been doing that all year,
Oh.
whilst getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, maybe they should focus on their car instead of Red Bull's cars.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah. Maybe you've got your own problems. Maybe your problem is you're looking at everyone else too much.
Yep, that's definitely a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, they got another
100%.
problem called Lewis Hamilton. Sorry about that. I just had a bit of a cough there.
That was great defending by Ocon to keep him behind.
Yes.
Although you could tell that they just didn't have the straight line speed.
Got the Mercedes.
Anytime
Yeah.
he'd pull out, Ocon would pull away. Like tells you the Alpine's got something
That
in a straight
Alpine is
line.
like deceptively quick this
in
year.
a straight line, it is.
Like,
yeah.
it's slippery.
Bloody oath.
Yeah. Yeah, their engine's a lot faster than their legal department, that's for sure.
That's not exactly the same
100%.
engine that was in a fireball at pre-season testing that we ragged on. Hey, the Alpine's shit, and so is Fernando Alonso, and has to be an Ocon.
Talking about a lot faster, how quick did the FIA, which I was happy for, but they gave that penalty to Charles Leclerc so quickly.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
Oh,
it was
that
good.
was
'cause
cut
it's-
and dry.
Yeah, it was. But there's so many other times where there's clear cut and they just take their time and, like, you hear about it, like, an hour later and you're like, oh, why did it need to take that long for something so clear cut? It's like,
the
why are
last
we
the
so
last
inconsistent?
race. It was the last race where Sergio Perez got his penalty after the race.
Yes, that one.
It's like you could have decided it there and then.
Yeah, you had over half the race until,
Why
like,
do you
took
have
you
to
so
wait?
long?
Why do you have to wait until after the race to make any decision?
Exactly. That
What
happened
else-
during the race.
What else
like,
are you fucking doing? You're a call centre.
Well, yeah.
He's going to put you on hold for 30 seconds while we go watch the next over.
who knows? He might be talking to Toto the whole time because Toto might be bitching the whole time. Eduardo, that is not right. Eduardo.
Just,
he's on the blower trying to get his
Lewis
cutter
is in
back.
fifth. We need Lewis up the top. How do we make this happen?
just like, no, I just put you on hold for a sec. What's the score in the World Cup? Is England up? What? They're losing.
Hey, God, I've still got to put you on hold. Yeah, can
no,
I have my cutter back?
No. He says he'll get his cutter back at the end of the race. No, we'll just check Charles in an hour or so. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, don't take the money to the harbour. Don't take the money to the airport. Take it to the harbour.
No, he owns the boatyard.
That's right.
No, the boatyard's his, and so's the Ferrari. Yep.
And so's the rat.
No,
Have you got the rat ready?
No, he'll
and the
take-
bucket.
he'll take it out of your cut. He'll take it out of your cut. All right. I'll talk to you later. Anyway, Charles cut the chicane there. Should probably give him a 5-second penalty.
It just cracks me up because it's just the inconsistency goes, what are they doing? Like, all those other times, you
What
know?
are you doing? We'll investigate it post-race. It's like lap 18.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's like,
saying.
the fuck? How much time do you need?
And, like, it's unfair to do that to that driver because, like...
I want to talk to him.
It's almost
You want
like
to talk to him?
It's almost like Ashley Clyde
Could you
from the
imagine?
bunker.
Could you imagine the bunker's like, no, I want to talk to Gutho. We'll investigate the try post-match.
After the match, all of a sudden, like, 2 tries be reinstated and someone else
I want to
wins.
get Gutho's opinion on that obstruction. Can you just bring him in? Sit
then-
him
and then-
down, make him a cup of tea.
And then after the game, Ricky Stewart is just blowing up as per usual.
Like, imagine that. Another sport where they did it like that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we'll come to it after the game. And the game
later.
finishes half an hour later, you find out your team lost because
Yeah.
they reinstated a try or a
No,
goal or something. And you're like, oh, what?
Congratulations, Parramatta, you're actually the premiers.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 days later.
We just needed
3 weeks later, we found this.
We just needed a cup of tea and a couple of biscuits to discuss it with our grandma.
We needed a
before
grand jury and a total of 3 months to come to this decision.
and a coffee and a Tim Tam.
Yeah. Shambles. You're the biggest sporting organisation on the planet besides FIFA.
Yeah.
Is the FIA.
Yep.
And they can't do anything right.
Yeah. Either can FIFA. So something about
The
just being that
corruption-
big, eh? Yeah.
No, what's even worse than FIFA is EA because they lost the FIFA license.
Oh, them together. Jesus Christ.
No, because FIFA outwagered them. So now what? Now they're expecting PES or 2K to stump up money that EA weren't going to spend.
Yeah, and I hope they do.
I hope
Because
Pez, that's
EA was-
Konami, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
EA was taking the
Konami
piss.
doesn't have that kind of money.
Yeah, it was taking the piss. They got FIFA 23 and it's
It's been the same for the last 5 years. All of their sport games. They've been
Yeah.
taking the piss for so long.
Yeah, I know. And here's this dumb buying every year.
Yeah, you're the problem.
I'm the problem.
I haven't bought any of those games for that long because it just annoys me so much. But everyone buys them every year. Oh, Ultimate Team.
You know what's worse?
Yeah,
Ultimate Team sucks. It's a rip-off. It is a rip-off. You're buying the same player every fucking year. The player's already in the game. Just have a custom game with your mates with that player.
You know what's worse though?
Oh, you don't need to buy a
But not
card
all-
that doesn't exist.
But not all of them together, bro.
Oh, they don't exist.
They're not all together and their chemistry doesn't sync up.
You know what's worse though? Because EA owns Codemasters, which means now it's the same thing with the F1 game.
That microtransacted me.
So you can buy a fucking couch.
So you could buy a leather, so you can have an off-grey mat for your floor.
Oh, my.
F1 Life. I swear to God, if F1 Life's in the next game, I'm not buying it. Even the supercars shtick. I drove two of the supercars in career mode. You got to do a time attack or a drift attack, and I'm just like, okay, I'm bored.
Where are the F1 cars?
What? You could have had classic cars and classic tracks. I don't care what Oakley brand sunglasses my imaginary driver is wearing.
That's what they should put in though for the next year's multiplayer, online multiplayer.
classic cars.
No.
Yes.
You have your 20 drivers on the grid, and one of the spectators can drive the safety car.
Or a crane out onto the track.
It's kind of like when you play Friday the 13th. You start
Tractor
off.
driver simulator. Here we go.
You can be the marshal
Sure,
that
yeah.
nearly gets killed by Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, we're allowed to laugh about that now, but at the time it was very, very serious.
You can decide the penalties during the race 3 weeks later.
Eduardo Freitas simulator.
Oh, gosh, I missed
You can decide who gets the rat in the bucket.
Oh.
Anyway, congratulations, Max Verstappen,
Yeah, well
world
done,
champion.
Max. We all miss when
Back
games
to
used to be
back.
great. I'm sure you do too.
Right. So my key drivers. I didn't pick Max Verstappen because he's world champion, so he doesn't need any more smoke blown up his ass.
Yeah, he's great every race. You all
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
Beast.
Right. So next driver, Sergio Perez. I thought
Yeah.
he did
Yep.
really well in the wet.
You did.
Good
He
with
had
his
a real-
tyres.
he had a-
It's just- yep.
He had a real ding dong battle with Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc had a good day.
He had a good day at the office. His tyres were shot.
They
I
were
can understand.
bald. That slow-mo at the end when he's going across the chicane instead of turning, and the whole middle strip of his tyre is bald like my head.
that was starting to look like 1998 F1 tyres with the grooves in them.
Yeah,
Do-
it was
do-
just terrible.
Do you think his mistake though was obviously the tyres are a factor, but do you also think it was the pressure of Perez and
Yeah.
we know Charles to make a bit of a
Perez got a better run
Yeah.
out of the spoon curve down
Yeah.
through 130R.
Yeah.
He had him.
Mm.
He had him, and he just outbraked himself.
Yeah. But
The right call was made, by the way. Charles Leclerc absolutely earned that 5-second penalty. There
Yeah,
was
he
no
also
debate.
he also pushed Perez off. Perez would have had him if
Yeah,
he had clean.
absolutely
yeah.
no debate.
yeah. The next key driver for me was Esteban Ocon. I
Yeah,
actually
that's a good
think
He,
he
drove
did.
really well against Lewis.
Yeah.
He defended him for 15 minutes.
For as overrated as I think he is, I think we're all in the sort of
He's
same.
he's
boat.
annoying me because I thought he's overrated for so long, and then this year every time I'm like, oh, that's a good drive, but he's overrated.
Yeah,
oh, that's a good
he
drive.
was overrated last year, and then he won the
it's like-
Hungarian Grand
yeah,
Prix.
like
It's like an error in my head's going off. Like, no, he's overrated. How do you do that?
Every
That's
time
all right.
we bring up that he's overrated and he shouldn't be on the grid, then he does something, and you sit there and go, "Well,
He's got
why can't
talent.
we see more of this?"
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, that double overtake he took. What race was it? Was it Spa?
Yeah. Was it Spa?
Yeah. Like when he did that, I was like, oh,
He's got talent. We rag
does,
on him, but
yeah.
he's got talent.
clearly he does. I mean, he's got more points than Alonso.
I think we
He's-
just don't like his personality because he's arrogant Frenchman.
And he got. I think that my thing is he got smashed that year by Daniel Ricciardo, and I just thought, ugh. Then he got signed by in a big deal, and it just put a bad taste in my mouth. Like, why are you signing? You know,
It's there.
drivers that aren't that great, and
It's
then
there. It comes out every
slowly,
now and then.
slowly comes out every now and then. So give him that.
The next key driver for me was Sebastian Vettel.
Yes,
He drove
come from
really
last
well.
to six.
He was in the
smashed it.
gravel in turn 1, and then he was the first one to put inters on in the gamble, coming off the restart, and he finished 6th.
I don't know why more cars didn't try that. Only the two back markers, and it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Latifi and
Oh, Seb knew exactly what he wanted to do off the restart.
like even if I was 10th, I would have had a go at that just for the clean air because
Yeah.
of the visibility. You were driving behind everyone anyway, so
Yeah.
you know I would have
Especially in the
pitted early.
rain.
I'm just surprised not more cars did it, thinking that hey, I can just get into clean air.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to pit eventually. I'll make that time up, not being stuck behind someone.
And good on him because Suzuka's his favourite track. He's very much come out and said that Suzuka's his favourite track on the calendar, and he got to enjoy his last Grand Prix at Suzuka by giving, I think that might be his best result of the season. 6th. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great track, by the way. I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah, I do like Suzuka.
And my last driver of the day
Don't do it to me.
is Nicholas Latifi.
Say something nice.
Oh.
Longhorn, say something nice, please. He's your boy.
Just leave already. Stop doing this to me.
He's going.
No, he I don't know. He got they picked the correct strategy.
Because it was him and Vettel that came in?
Yeah, it was him and Vettel. Remember they had that coming out the pit lane at the same time?
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Side by side down
He's
the pit
still
lane.
a terrible driver. He's still not good enough to be on the grid, but he got the strategy right in
Williams got the strategy right.
Yeah, Williams got the strategy right, and he just happened to be in the right place, right time, and no one else could
And he
do
could
anything
drive in
about
the
it.
wet because he's Canadian.
Yeah, being Canadian, you can at least stay on the track. I wouldn't say you could drive on the wet. He can stay on the
He
track.
can survive.
Yeah, he can survive long enough in a race where no one was coming near him unless they were going past him, and there wasn't many people doing that. Which tells you everything you need to know. But well done, Nick. 2 points.
It's good to see you're not going to miss the back of him next year. Actually, does that take him off the bottom of the championship standings?
It does. Well, it takes him to at least 20th, not 21st.
He's got to be 20th out of 20 drivers now.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he
20th.
might still be. Oh, he's 20th.
He's
now.
ahead of Nick De Vries.
Yeah, he'd have to be because Nick De Vries has only been in
Yeah.
one race.
Congratulations, you don't officially super suck. You only suck a little
You're
bit
not
now.
rock bottom.
Congratulations! It took you almost a full year to be a reserve driver.
Woohoo!
Well done.
Right. So the next news story is that Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander won the Bathurst 1000.
Yeah, well earned.
Last Holden win at Bathurst before the Holden name is retired in
Yeah.
favour of the Chevy Camaro.
That's it.
I was happy that a Holden won.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
way to
would've-
go out.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have liked it if Craig Lowndes had won it.
Cam Waters got fucked. Actually, James Moffat got fucked. In the Monster Energy Mustang, he got spun on lap 54 in the cutting with no penalty to the guy that spun him. And then an identical incident happened later in the race. Greg Murphy got spun out of the last corner, identical incident, and the dude got penalised for it. So then Cam Waters drove the Mustang all the way back through the field to third on that last safety car restart and just couldn't get there.
But
I'm not dissing Shane or Holden. I'm not begrudging Holden their last ever Bathurst win, but God, man, Cam Waters got screwed.
I did notice that at the start of the race, they had a shot of race control. And they've got their usual race director sitting there and his two little minions beside him. And in the background was a very, very familiar face. We haven't seen him since the end of last year in Abu Dhabi.
Not since he dropped that bomb and flew away.
There was
he
Michael
packed his
Massey
shit
in the background, and even Neil Crompton said, "Oh, look, there's a familiar face in the background." I was like, "Massey's back! Massey's back!"
Yeah, good on him. He wasn't the race director though. He was just there,
No, he was just observing. But it was pretty good.
He was observing, and all the lapped cars under the safety car did a really good job of unlapping themselves correctly. And no one got screwed over with a lap to go. Neither did Lewis. Stop whinging.
Very true. But even Neil Crompton was vaguely tolerable this year.
He was a little bit. You know what I really liked though? Larko.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, Mark Larkin was almost booted by Channel 7 and then they put a petition out by the fans that got like 500,000 signatures or something to reinstate Larko, and now he's there. He's having the time of his life. It was good to see him. It was good to see him he was having fun. He was out there when the rain stopped with his chalk out in the pit lane drawer. He's like, this is your pit window and da-da-da, and then he's inside in the Kino hub with the fuel strategies, and then he's under the mock car showing you how like roll bars work and shit. He was having a great time.
Yeah.
He was having a great time.
While we're on the subject of commentators, I actually really enjoyed Jensen Button's commentary for the F1.
He's good.
I miss Martin. I always miss
yeah.
Martin when he's not there. It's always very noticeable when Martin Brundle is not there, but Jensen did a good job.
Yeah, it was a lot
Better
better
than Nico.
Oh, look, me.
Oh, anything's better than that.
Oh, me farting on a snare drum is better than Nico.
I'd say Jensen's one of the best we get.
Yeah, outside of... I wish Alex Brundle would, like, fill in for Martin when Martin's not there. They almost sound identical, too. It's hilarious.
But there was that really big crash for Bathurst.
Oh, there's a
when
few.
Old mate came out of the chase,
Yeah, that was...
hit the mud.
young Goddard. Gassed it up. I know what he was trying to do. Like,
Yeah.
he gassed it up to try to not get bogged, but in doing so, gave his car so much momentum that it just slid out of control back across the track. And who was it? James Courtney's he wasn't driving it at the time. His co-driver was. Just smashed into him at like 150 k's an hour. Just bang, bonnet first. Almost flipped the other car.
Yeah.
You know, and then, there was that start line, and the poor 55 car, off the start, they go around the corner, Whincup spins, and the 55 car doesn't hit anything, but he, like, swerves to avoid Whincup, gets on the grass on Mountain Straight, and just smashes the concrete, and that's their race over in, like, 500 metres.
Yep.
Didn't hit anything, he just out-of-controlled into the wall, and so there's a lot of hard luck stories about this. You know, the enduring image of Mark Winterbottom's number 18... Holden Commodore, just full of gaff tape from about lap 3.
Yeah.
Just absolutely chockers of gaff tape, but I think he finished in the top 10.
I remember looking at one point, there were so many cars just all gaffed up,
Just
like
gaff, man.
put together.
I
Looked
love
like
it.
it'd been a demolition derby going
After
on.
that, like, first lap, and the cars are coming in, and old mate's jumping on the bonnet to try and straighten the bonnet out. And he's just, like, gaff taping it down and sending it off. But that's Bathurst. That's the war
Someone
of
needs
attrition.
to send that
Yeah.
footage to Pierre Gasly and go, this is what happened on the same day.
Yeah.
You've got a sign. These guys are jumping on cars to
Yeah,
flatten
did
them
we
out.
explain that, besides Pierre Gasly almost hitting the tractor, he got a piece of the Rolex sign from Carlos Sainz's crash.
Yeah.
Flicked up under his, like, between the front wing and his halo just jammed there.
He couldn't see.
Couldn't see a damn thing.
But I think Greg Murphy summed it up pretty well when he finished his first stint and they interviewed him. They're like, what's it like out there? And he goes, are they trying to win the race in the first stint?
He was shaking his head.
It's just like,
There
it's
was a few.
madness.
There was a few like that. Someone called them losers. The other one called them pathetic. Someone called them a bunch of dickheads. Someone just straight up dropped the F-bomb on live TV like twice.
Yeah.
They were interviewing... I can't remember who they were interviewing. I think it was the guy in the mongrel car. And he just straight up just dropped the F-bomb mid-interview. But, I mean, you can understand it.
Yeah.
And then there was actually a shot of the same guy later on just crying on his wife's shoulder because his race was over.
Yeah.
He's like, I waited all year for this. I trained for months to get in shape for my crack at Bathurst, and it's over in like 7 laps. I think there was 3 safety cars in 7 laps. It was unreal.
Yeah. There was, I think it was 8 safety cars in total.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It was a long old day on the mountain, and Shane Van Gisbergen eventually got there and got the win. Chaz Mostert looked like he had the pace for a while, but he had to settle for second. And Cam Waters, after he fought his way all the way back through the field from that bullshit spin, finished third. I'm not salty about it, though, but I'm sort of salty about it.
Yeah, you don't sound it.
A little bit salty about it, but, you know, so's he.
All right. Next news story is that Pierre Gasly is signed for Alpine in 2023.
Oh, the worst kept secret, eh?
Yeah, I think we saw that coming from a
Well,
mile away.
I have to sort of elaborate on this. I read an interview with Otmar Zafnauer, who first of all started off by having another crack at Oscar Piastri because
Stop crying. You got your other driver.
yeah,
Get over it.
that's what he wanted, and so he wanted to get Pierre Gasly. So he went and saw Franz Tost, team principal at AlphaTauri, and Franz Tost said, "No, you can't have him.
Yeah,
We want to
right.
keep him."
Who? Gasly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, Otmar says, well, Franz Tost wanted to keep him, but I'm pretty sure there was someone else in Red Bull who didn't want to keep him. So I went and saw Helmut Marko.
Oh, sneaky.
And
sneaky.
Helmut Marko was just like, yeah, we're trying to get rid of him. Like, we only signed him because we've got no one else. And, and then so we signed him. But
That's
you
such
can-
a
you
shit
can
on
have-
Pierre Gasly's talent, though.
And
It
he's like, so...
He'd
you-
done his time in Red Bull. You've heard the story.
He's never getting back on the top team.
Yeah, but they wanted him gone since then, and it's frustrating that he didn't try and find somewhere else because he's sat at AlphaTauri 2 years on since that, and
Yeah.
his career's been going nowhere until now. Now he's got somewhere to go, I guess.
So Helmut Marko's like, look, we'll just tear up the contract and you can sign him.
they didn't have to pay it out.
No.
That's
No. Didn't
how
have to pay it
badly
out.
they wanted him gone.
Yeah. They're just like, here you go. There's a contract torn. You can sign him. So they signed him.
Franz Tost is just blowing up the likes of the background.
Well, I don't think he'd be blowing up for too long because mere minutes after Pierre Gasly was announced as signing for Alpine, Nick De Vries has signed with AlphaTauri.
They got themselves a
So
shiny,
they
nice
got
shiny new driver.
So Helmut Marko got the driver he wanted in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
And
That's what you call
Franz Tost has got to be sitting there going, well, I think we've done all right.
Bloody oath, I
it's
would
a
be.
win-win situation, I
Yeah.
guess.
He's probably the hottest driver going around at the moment. They didn't have a seat to get in. So
Him and Piastri are the two hottest drivers going.
I'm
They
just
both got
surprised.
seats next year. Good.
Yeah.
About time that happened.
Yeah.
We were sitting here, we were sitting here last year, me and you.
Yeah.
Mr. Phil, and we were lamenting all the young talent that wasn't getting into Formula
I
1.
wonder
The
what
Callum-
those conversations were like, though, because he was a Mercedes.
The Callum Ilots of the world. And now we've got the two hottest young talents, Nick De Vries. I've had Nick De Vries, I've been saying Nick De Vries' name since last year. Getting
Yeah.
him on the grid, and Oscar Piastri.
Yeah,
and
well,
Callum Ilot's probably the one that genuinely missed out. But
Yeah.
I think he's unfortunately done, but
So that means there's only 2 seats left available on the F1 grid next year, which is a seat at Haas and a seat at Williams. Why Haas are not re-signing Mick Schumacher is just beyond me.
Gunther
What-
Steiner
we-
doesn't like Mick, hey?
for whatever
Something-
reason, they don't like him, hey?
Whatever reason, Gunther Steiner just has it out for Mick Schumacher.
Well, I mean, if Josh Capito, if they don't want him, you sign him. Because he is talented. He has got talent. He
just
needs better machinery.
Yeah,
You know, there's been talk of Jack Doohan going to Williams.
Yeah?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind that.
Yeah.
Two
There's been
Aussies
some
on the
talk.
grid.
Yep. Jack's got talent,
That would be pretty
Yeah.
good.
but that would be also be another Alpine thing to do to let one of their tuner talent go. But
But, you know, those 2 moves seem all right. And apparently Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon had to sit down and sort out their shit.
They've done that, have they?
Yeah, they sat down, sorted out their
Carl.
shit, and now they're mates.
They're not mates.
They've
Carl.
sorted it out until they pull the visor down next year.
Yeah, sort of dead.
We're mates until we're in the same garage next year, and then we're not mates.
Put their arms down and let the military walk straight through the city, did they? Yeah, righto.
Bet they did.
Yeah.
Right, the next news story is that Red Bull has been found guilty of exceeding the 2021 financial cost cap. Now, I have to clarify something. The 2021 cost cap does not count development on the 2022 car. It's all on last year's car and the spending on last year's car and everything to do with that. So this year's car, development of that went under this year's cost cap.
Right.
But they found that Red Bull went over by about 2 million.
A
1
minor
million.
breach, less than 5%. 5% is £7 million.
So Red Bull put out a statement, and I'm going to read it verbatim here, which is, "We note the findings by the FIA of minor overspending breaches of the financial regulations with surprise and disappointment. Our 2021 submission was below the cost cap limit, so we need to carefully review the FIA's findings, as our belief remains that the relevant costs are under the 2021 cost cap amount. Despite the conjecture and positioning of others, there is of course a process under the regulations with the FIA which we will respectfully follow while we consider all the options available to us." Now, Mattia Binotto has come out and said, look, $1 million to 2 million, that's a tenth. That's a tenth of a second you gain. So he's saying, look, I mean, it's a tenth of a second of a gain. It's not the most huge amount. So they shouldn't be throwing the book at them entirely.
No, not for this amount. Not the first time they've...
Whereas Toto Wolff is sitting there saying, take the championship off
I
him.
know.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. The problem for Red Bull is, it might be a 10th. This is the first time anyone's breached the cap.
Yeah.
Because it's only just been brought in. That's what I'm saying.
This is the precedent you now set. What is the punishment for breaching the cap at all?
Right, well, they've got a few options.
Yeah.
They've got a few options.
Yes.
A fine.
Mm-hmm.
A fine, I think it's like £100,000 or euro or something.
Oh, that's not enough,
That's
though.
not a fine.
Yeah,
That's pocket money.
not for these. Yeah.
That's not a fine.
They can take championship points from the 2021 championship standings for the constructor.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't do that because it's too far along.
They won't. This is for a serious breach. more than
Yeah,
that.
but this is again the FIA. Like, it's taken them over another season to work this out. Like,
Oh, it could be worse.
they strip them completely of the championship.
Option number 3 is they take points not only from the constructors, but from the drivers' championship
There are
from the
so many-
2021 season, which means if they do that, Max Verstappen will lose his world title.
It's not going to happen.
Can't do this.
It's
And
not
this is the
gonna
problem,
happen,
though,
dude.
because exactly like you said, Jamie, they have to set a precedent because this is so new, and you want to discourage any overspending. The other problem is, though, you also don't want to take away a world championship over such a minor spend. But at the same time, you don't want all these big... Because if it's only a £100,000 fine, teams like Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari are just they're going to go over every year and go, we'll just pay the $100,000 fine.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we stay under the 5%, they'll all spend 6.5 mil over and pay a $100,000 fine and get on with it. And we don't want that.
I don't think it's fair to take the points off Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, like as drivers' points.
No,
I
because
don't
it's not
feel
their
fair.
fault. It's not their fault. Yeah.
They want to take it off the constructors, that's fine.
Yep.
Because it's not going to change the constructors anyway. Option number 4 is that their cost cap is reduced. Like they're not allowed to spend as much money on next year's
I like that.
cost cap.
Yeah, I like that option.
Yeah, that's a better one.
And then the 5th option is they take away even more wind tunnel testing time.
Yeah. I think it should be the last two options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
This
think.
is a minor breach. They said it's under 5%, which is £7 million. So any Lewis Hamilton fanboys out there thinking Max Verstappen's going to lose his championship next year, It's not going to happen. It will not happen. It was a minor breach.
Yeah.
What will happen is they will take the amount that Red Bull overspent off next year's cap. So if they've overspent by $2 million, they're going to have $143 million to spend next year. And they're going to get, I don't know, they're going to lose a quarter of their wind tunnel testing time.
The number I
Which
heard,
they already don't have a whole lot of because they're champions.
the number I heard, because I think the cost cap next year is 131 million.
I brought it down even more.
Yep.
That's crazy. Wasn't it 145?
It was 145.
Yeah, it was 145 last year. It was 135 this year, and next year it's 131. But I heard that the FIA is going to take 5 mil off, so they'll be down to 126 million for their cost cap.
Well, look, that's the penalty.
You know?
That's fine. I'm happy with them doing
Yeah.
that.
I'm happy with
Yeah.
I'm happy with Red Bull losing cost cap money and wind tunnel testing time.
I don't know
and-
if keeping the cap going low is a good thing, though.
Oh, they're just trying to bring it down, and then it'll hit like a certain amount where it'll just stay at that amount.
Yeah,
Like-
right.
Which is fine for existing teams, but new teams coming in, what are they going to do? Like, you know, you bring a new team in with this new regulation of car, they're going to have to build that car from scratch with a cost cap that's, what, $126 million? When teams that started developing this car had 145
No.
to play
They'll
with?
have say that the cost cap is 130 million.
Yeah.
So they'll have 130 million to develop their car. But if they announce that they're coming in, say if they announce they're coming in 2026, they're allowed to develop their car, say from 2024, and have that cost cap for the 130 for 2024, and then the 130 for 2025 to develop their car for 2026.
Without racing. They
Yeah.
can just... yeah, beauty.
Yeah, they'll just run it through the wind tunnel a
Yeah.
whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I don't care. More entries
So
are
that they
better.
can hit the ground running.
Yeah, fair enough. As long as it doesn't limit new teams coming in.
That's right, yeah.
No, well, what's limiting new teams coming in is
Other teams voting. That's
Yeah.
an annoying thing. They shouldn't have a... Why should they get a say? Of course they're not going to want more competition. Like... Yeah, anyway.
So the next news item is... Now, there was all this conjecture over the Japanese F1 weekend because the old Honda logo was appearing on the Red Bull cars again.
Shock.
There are rumours, according to the race, not that I want to acknowledge the race, but the race, that Honda are rejoining F1 in 2026 as an engine partner with Red Bull and AlphaTauri.
My goodness, what a
Doesn't-
shock.
God doesn't shock me at all.
But this is where it gets tricky. The engine is still going to be worked on by Red Bull powertrains. So the internal combustion engine is Red Bull powertrains off the Honda design. All the electronic stuff, the KERS, that type of thing, is going to be developed by Honda. So it will be a 50-50 partnership with the power unit.
Are Red Bull going to want that after how good they're doing as Red Bull powertrains?
Yeah, Honda's
It's the
still
same engine.
Yeah, Honda's still building it for them and giving them spare parts and everything at the moment.
Red
Yeah,
Bull
but-
Powertrains is just a mask, man. It's still a Honda engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All you're doing is putting the H logo back on it.
And what happened was the president of Honda announced 2020 that at the end of 2021 Honda was going to pull out of F1. And about 6 months after they pulled out, after they won the world title, that president got ousted by the company and they put a new president in. He was like, I want to get back into F1.
Yeah, because we're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing well. Let's get back into F1.
You know what this is? This is that, like, Superintendent Chalmers thing from The Simpsons. So they stole the H logo off by Honda. How are they ever going to know it's a Honda without the H logo? So now the new president's like, how are they ever going to know it's a Honda without the H logo? We need to get back in there and put the H logo back on.
Old Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Super Nintendo Chalmers.
So I'm happy for Honda to come back.
Well, they've
Yum.
never really
Yeah.
left.
Yeah,
Let's be
that's
real,
right.
That's
they've
what I mean.
never
If,
fucking
yeah,
left.
the way they haven't
Yeah.
left then. They've still been there.
Yeah.
So,
And they've still got, at Red Bull Powertrains, they've still got some key Honda staff working at Red Bull Powertrains. So, and that the engines are still being made by Honda and parts being provided by Honda. So there's no difference. Might as well just slap the Honda logo properly back on it and say it's a Honda.
That's it. That's literally all this is. We're just putting the H logo back on it.
Yeah, because at the
We're just
moment
going to pay you some money to put the H logo back on.
because at the moment it's got HRC, which is
HRT.
Holden Racing Team
I nearly said that. Honda Racing
Company.
Company. Or
Attaboy.
something like that. Yeah. HRC.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Honda
so-
Racing Company, the same HRC logo that's on the MotoGP bikes.
Yeah.
Honda Racing Company.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the next news item is again, this is something that came up on the race. So I'm really hijacking
You're
their
really
stuff.
acknowledging the race a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm hijacking
I watch
their stuff.
their videos every day.
Oh,
I know they annoy me, but
sometimes it's very pretentious. But the next news item is it has to do with Porsche. So Porsche really does want to get on the F1 grid in 2026. And so does Andretti. But Andretti wants to get on that grid. So the race seems to think that the best way for Andretti to get onto the grid in 2026 is to partner up and be a factory Andretti Porsche team. That way, the FIA will get a new engine supplier and a new team, despite the fact that no one seems to want a new team on the grid. But they'll get a new team with a new engine supplier on the grid.
that's such a backwards approach, eh? It's like, 2026 regulations was made to entice new manufacturers to come to the sport. And everyone's like, I don't want new manufacturers.
Then we allow all the teams to vote on it. They're like, we don't want any.
You don't want any. It's
Why
like,
would you even ask the
well,
teams?
what's
It's not
the
up to
point?
them.
Well, we'll just scrap all this shit. We'll go back to the 2021 model cars.
Have you seen all the teams fight over, against each other all year? What do you think they're going to say when you want, we want to bring in a new team? No, we want, every team's in it for themselves. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'd love to see this team come in and potentially beat us. Like, stupid.
Yeah.
Haas is just like,
Like,
Williams.
yeah.
AlphaTauri's like,
10 is such
We don't
a
even have a say.
10 is such a round number. 12's not a round number. Coming 12th out of 12 teams.
Yeah, look, I think that they should allow Andretti Porsche onto the grid.
Yeah, as their own if they want.
Yeah. Like, they're going to be...
They should just open up the amount of slots they're going to, new slots. Say they're going to say, we'll allow 2 new teams. So 4 new cars. There's 2 new slots open. No one gets to say about it. You've got all this. You've got to have the money. You've got to have all this stuff, tick, 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 to get in.
Yeah.
You can supply all that and you're keen. You want in. You've got the pathway. Bang, you're in.
Yeah, well,
We don't have to ask Toto Wolff. You don't have to ask Christian Horner. It's just completely set like that.
and it's the smartest way to go about it. You got two entities vying for the same thing. Andretti and Porsche want to get on the grid, so
And let people who want in bid on it, and
Yeah.
the 2 best options that come up win. That's how everything else in the world
yeah,
works.
don't let the teams vote on anything. Screw
Yeah.
them.
Well, they shouldn't have a say
All,
whatsoever.
they,
It
all
should
they're
be,
going to do is say no.
exactly. It should be literally, like I said, a bunch of guidelines. Like, we're going to open up 2 new slots.
The FIA
We don't
can
care
vote
who
on
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be Jim's Moen coming on for all I don't know. If they've
I
got
hope
enough
it is.
money and everything else to tick off, Jim's Moen's coming.
I
You know
hope
what I
it's
mean?
Jim's
Like,
mowing, and I hope he has a V6 Victor engine.
Can you imagine that?
Jim's racial segregation.
Jim's
Jim's.
Jim's wife. She goes all right. Don't forget,
Pop on a
I'll still mow
movie
your,
with Jim Flex.
I'll still mow your fucking lawn.
The one true church of Jim.
Yeah. Jim's Formula One racing. It goes all right. Just put a big cutter on the bottom every time it goes off the track. The grass is like,
No, that's Eduardo Fuentes Racing.
oh yeah,
The cutter underneath.
the cutter.
Oh, we get some mileage out of that joke this year.
I'm sure people aren't bored of it like we are.
I'm not bored of it.
We've been bored of it all year.
No. Right. So then we get to the driver standings. So we're going to let JB take this one.
Woo! 2022 driver standings after the Japanese Grand Prix. In first place, and now with gold numbers, because he the champ, baby. Max Verstappen, world champion Max Verstappen, back-to-back to the max. Hashtag to the max. 366 points and counting. Second, Sergio Perez, 253 points. Third, Charles Leclerc, 252 points. That's going to go down to the wire. Fourth is George Russell on 207 points. Fifth is Carlos Sainz on 202 points. Another fight that will go to the wire. Sixth is Lewis Hamilton on 180 points. Seventh is Lando Norris on 101 points. Eighth is Esteban Ocon on 78 points. Ninth is Fernando Alonso on 65 points. And 10th is Valtteri Bottas on 46 points.
11th is Sebastian Vettel with 32 points. 12th is Daniel Ricciardo with 29 points. 13th is Pierre Gasly with 23 points. 14th is Kevin Magnussen with 22 points. 15th is Lance Stroll with 13 points. 16th is Mick Schumacher with 12 points. 17th is Yuki Tsunoda with 11 points. 18th is Zhou Guan Yu with 6 points. 19th is Alexander Albon with 4 points. Are you ready? Yeah. In 20th is Nicholas Latifi with 2 points.
Woo!
In 21st is Nick de Vries with 2 points. And bringing up the rear is Nico Hulkenberg with Zut. So we move over to the team standings. We're going to let Longhorn do this one.
All right, team standings. On top, we have Red Bull Racing, 619 points. In second, we have Ferrari, 454 points. In third, Mercedes, 387 points. In fourth, Alpine with 143 points. Now down to fifth, JB's McLaren with 130. In sixth, Alfa Romeo, 52. In seventh, Aston Martin with 45. In eighth, we have the Haas with 34. And tied for eighth, but sitting at ninth, we have AlphaTauri with 34. And coming lowly at the bottom, My Williams with 8 points.
Wow, Haas is tied with AlphaTauri.
They've gone from 4 points to 8 points in 2 races, man. It's a slow build, but it's getting there.
Yeah, they're getting there.
One step at a time.
Baby steps, mate.
Baby steps. At this rate, they'll crack triple figures in like 6 years.
Yeah.
If you just keep counting the points year after year.
Just got to double check something, though.
They had 6 last week, and then they had 4,
Alpine has overtaken McLaren.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
I didn't need confirmation that McLaren didn't have a great weekend.
That's the battle to watch, is between them two.
Yeah.
Singapore, both the Alpines are out. McLaren's got points, and in this race, it was the
We
opposite.
had that awesome haul in Singapore, and then a week later, it all went to shit again.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time for us to do the shameless plugs for how you can watch the show. So you've got you can watch us on YouTube on the F1 Chat on the Vindicator 18 channel, where you get all your rubbish podcasts from. You can also watch it. You can interact with us on Facebook on the F1 Chat. You can also interact with us on Twitter, on the Twitter. On the F1 Chat 1. Don't forget the 1.
Don't forget the 1.
On Rumble.
Yes.
It's the F1 Chat. And on Spotify as the F1 Chat. So, we're back again in 2 weeks, I think it is. 2 weeks at Circuit of the Americas. COTA in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, that's going to be like the 4 a.m. start or the 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's
Again, we go into the shit time zone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be watching it Monday afternoon, I'd say. Not, just not Sunday.
Yeah, we don't do them live anymore. Now they're like 4 in the morning. And then Brazil's like 2 in the morning at Abu Dhabi. At least Abu Dhabi starts at a reasonable time.
Yeah, I think the Americas, it's not even 4 in the morning. It's like 1:32. So it's not even like you can get up early and watch it. It's like
yeah, it's like
smack bang in
Oh,
like...
Coda, I think, is a 3 or 4 a.m. start.
Yeah,
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 it
because it's the
finishes
same as
about 6.
NFL. Like, if you want to watch NFL games, it's like 3 in the morning on a Monday.
Yeah, I tried that the other day. I fell asleep at half time. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't.
Yeah, but that's because you're watching
doing?
NFL.
Don't
Oi.
start. Don't start.
Shout out
Don't
to
start there.
shout out to Tom Brady for milking a penalty and costing my Falcons the win. Thanks, dude.
Oh, that was ridiculous,
That was
wasn't
so
it?
Shit.
I don't even think it was Tom Brady's fault, but that was just the worst call ever. It was like, oh my god, they touched Tom Brady. Penalty. Like,
Geriatric.
oh,
Geriatric. Fuck.
ridiculous.
Retire.
Yeah.
Fucking retire.
I think Brody here needs to have a crack at NFL Blitz 2000 on the
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. It's on.
But 2 weeks time for Austin, Texas,
Sweet.
and then we've got, I think, a week after that is Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 weeks after that is Brazil,
Yes.
and then I think it's Abu Dhabi after that.
Yeah.
So we're at the back end of the season. The drivers' title is secure, but we still got the constructors.
That'll be secure in 2 weeks.
Yep,
Yeah.
that'll be secure.
We're gonna roll into Abu Dhabi with everything fucking settled.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, oh, this
We're
is
just
the
going to be
airtime
sitting
last
there
year.
going, you Saudis blew your money on nothing.
We'll get to Abu Dhabi and we'll be watching the thrilling battle between Haas and AlphaTauri to get who can get 1 point to finish on
Yeah.
35.
Hopefully McLaren and Alpine are still having their scrap and McLaren hasn't fallen off the horse like last year.
and the epic battle over to see whether Mick Schumacher keeps his seat at Haas.
Yeah, it's not looking likely. Otherwise, we would have thought he would have been re-signed by now. But I just don't know why they haven't. There's no other option that's enticing. Like,
Do you think?
what was the point of starting two rookie drivers like you did, and then the one with actual talent? You want to let go when you got no other options.
I mean, your
Like,
options.
What
are,
were you expecting him to come in and do?
Your options are Giovinazzi or Nico Hulkenberg. Never was or has been.
Yeah, they've got they had a shit car his first year, like an absolute dog box. This year, it was great for the first few races.
Then they forgot
Then it's
to
been-
download the update
Yeah,
on the car.
they couldn't afford the update, so it's been shit ever since. What are you expecting him to do more than he has? Okay, you could say the one criticism is he's had a couple of bad crashes, but he's taken them out. Like, it's not like he's been a Latifi.
Yeah.
Every driver has their crash, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I mean, look, it could have been worse. They could have still had
Mazepin.
Mazepin.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. That's how irrelevant he is now.
Yeah.
They could have still had Mazepin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't he want to try and get back on the grid, haven't you heard?
Just put him in a tank.
Yeah.
Put him in a tank.
I'm
He can-
surprised he hasn't already been in one.
Yeah, no comment. Right, so we're going to be back in 2 weeks, and we're going to enjoy some tasty McPhil burgers. That's always the highlight. Yeah. But until then, thank you for tuning in on behalf of myself, Longhorn, JB, and our mystery partner, Barry Enchilada, whenever he shows up. Thank you for tuning in, and it is goodbye.